Hello everyone! So today I am presenting you a meal prep twofer. So we've been talking a little bit on my page about different types of sauce. So I actually am going to prepare a Hollandaise sauce for you guys today. And I'm going to talk about different ways to cut the calorie content and talk about really how much that you would eat in order to get a certain amount of calories, so that way, you know, you can make it a little bit of a healthier option. I personally am a huge fan of Hollandaise sauce. That's partly why I wanted to start with that one. And then the other part of this video is going to be me prepping dinner tonight, an early dinner actually, because I have to go over to Yard of Terror. I'm actually going to be making another versatile soup. I'm going to be making a beef-based one. Here's the ground beef in front of me. So I actually am going to start with that so I can get it cooking. So basically what I have is one of those like rolls of beef right here, and I just kind of broke it up into a bunch of little pieces, and I honestly don't even remember what the content was. I think it was 85 actually, which is fine because I actually want the fat to just cook off inside the broth. And then this is my base. This is a beef culinary stock. This one is per cup of broth, or stock rather, it's 270 milligrams, so I didn't go for a low salt option, but it already kind of is low salt, so I'm kind of okay with this one. So I'm going to start by putting some of that in here. Okay, so just going to squirt that in there. Eventually I'll move the camera so that we get a close-up, especially as I'm doing the finishing touches. Okay, that's all set. Okay, and then let's put the heat on it right away. Okay. Alright, and then I'm going to put my beef right in there, and then I'm going to end up stirring it once I get all the stuff in there, just so that it breaks up even a little bit more. And then I'm also going to put in a half of a cup of brown rice. Okay, so just regular long grain, cheapo brown rice. I probably could go a little bit more in this, but I want to keep the rice down a little bit. I'm probably going to be going low carb as of next week, like about 1 serving, 1.5 servings of carbohydrates per day, or like a regular serving of carbs and like a really high fiber serving of carbs, you know, just to kind of detox a little bit from Halloween shenanigans. So, let's stick this in there next. And then, the things I'm going to be putting in there after I get some of the heat going is going to be some vegetables. So this is a harvest blend of vegetables. It's frozen. I just took it right out of the freezer. This is broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, zucchini, and yellow squash. That sounds fantastic. So just to give it a little extra stuff in there, extra vegetables. And then I was like, you know, I think I want to add one more vegetable to this. So I picked up, and this was from Wegmans, this is a washed and ready to eat green cabbage, mainly because I wanted this to be a quick meal. This thing was only a couple of dollars. I think it was $2.50. So that's not bad at all. I love cabbage. One of the reasons why I love it is, well, actually a couple reasons. One of the reasons is it maintains a good texture when it's in soup for a while. And the second reason is because it absorbs flavors really well, like really well. So, like whatever I decide to flavor this as, which by the way, you don't see any spices here. Oh, this is not a spice packet. This is the Hollandaise. I'm not putting any spices into this one either, because the way I see it is the way that I could flavor this could be anything. Like, so today maybe I'll put an Italian seasoning when I eat it. Or maybe tomorrow when I have some, or like at midnight if I'm hungry, which I could be, knowing what today's looking like. I might want to season it with like what I would use on like a pulled pork rub, like a pork shoulder rub or something like that. Like a sweet and smoky type of thing. Like that sounds delicious. Or like a beef brisket type of seasoning blend. Like all that sounds like it would be delicious in this soup. So just for some seasoning options, because I don't know if you saw my other video about the pork soup I made, I didn't season it there either, and when I ended up eating it, which was like 4 times at least, I seasoned it differently every single time. I was using like Creole mustard, I used Italian seasoning one of the times, I didn't season it another time, and I just threw a little bit of Parmesan cheese. It was really good every single time. So I'm going to be taking the same exact standpoint with this. Alright, let me get a wooden spoon here, let's see how we're doing. Oh yeah, beef is breaking apart nicely. Okay, so, actually I'm going to bring the camera over so you can see. And maybe now that I've kind of presented everything, maybe I'll just leave the camera here so you can watch the process. Okay, here we are. Okay, alright, so as you can see, it is already starting to cook away. There's already a little bit of browning happening, which is fine. I'm going to be adding some water into this just so that we can get a little bit more volume to the broth, and that's fine. Again, that's why I didn't pre-cook the beef, is I didn't want to be tempted to drain out that fat. I actually wanted the fat to be in this. It's going to be spread out through so many servings, it is not going to matter. When all is said and done, each serving of this, depending on how much I decide to eat, is probably going to be around 200 calories. It's not going to be much, okay? So, yeah, this is doing really well. Okay, alright, so I'm going to add my vegetables, and then I'm going to top it off with water again. Just like I did the last time. Oh, don't you love it when there's no tear here thing? Now once I get all this stuff going, I'm going to then get the sauce going so we can explore that. Here's my cabbage. For those of you who know me, I am definitely inept with the scissors. Part of being a lefty. And even though I was just using my right hand, that wasn't working either. Okay, harvest vegetables. Okay, let's take a look here. So, definitely not enough liquid, as you can see. So I'm going to actually add water directly from my water filter for this. Be right back. I'm basically going to fill it until it just covers the vegetables. Okay, can we see that pretty well there? Okay, it's a pretty big pot. I would say this is covering about half of it. Okay, and I can feel the rice down there at the bottom. It's doing its thing cooking. It's looking nice and pink as it's cooking. But remember, I haven't even boiled this yet, so like it's got some time. Okay, so let's get a lid on this. Okay. Alright. And I'm going to let it get started. Okay, so Hollandaise sauce. So I grabbed a couple of Hollandaise packets. Mainly, I wanted to start with a packet because I've actually tried to make this sauce homemade and I've messed it up like all 3 times that I've tried. Normally what happens is it comes out really, really clumpy. So obviously I need some more practice. So I was like, okay, so I'm a beginner with this sauce. Let's start with the beginner's method of using a packet. So I took a look at it and I flipped it over immediately and I was like, oh, 10 calories per serving. Interesting. And I've definitely had some Hollandaise sauces that I've really, really liked that I was told were made from the packet, like at a restaurant. So I guess let's start with this. And as I cook it up, you know, I'm going to taste test it and see what we need, okay? So, alright. So looking at this, the ingredient list, it's a little bit questionable with a couple of ingredients, but overall it's not too bad. And I'm sure most of the things that look like chemicals, they're mainly preservatives, but most of the stuff in here is going to be okay. Alright, so now what I do believe that this label does not include are the ingredients that you have to prepare it with. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here. So they're saying that you need to whisk in 1 cup of milk and 1/4 cup of margarine or butter. Well, forget margarine. Ew, ew, ew. Like, cringe. There's no way I'm using margarine in anything I ever cook. So I'm going to be using butter. So it's half a stick, okay? 4 tablespoons. So a tablespoon is about 100 calories. It's not that bad, actually. And then, well, there's milk. Okay, so for milk, I'm actually going to be trying something. I'm going to be using almond milk for this, actually. And normally the almond milk that I get is unsweetened vanilla. So it's what I use for my protein shakes. So, but I figure for this sauce, maybe it won't be so bad because the vanilla flavor is very light and I'm not going to be mixing it with protein powder, so I'm not going to get that overpowering vanilla taste that I'm used to. But like, I think for this particular cream sauce, where you don't really need a huge savory flavor unless you want it, I think it'll be alright, actually. But we're going to try. This is going to be an experiment. A live, Facebook Live experiment. So, but I am going to put that half stick of butter in there. Because, well, if we take a look at the label again, 10 servings per container. So, when it's prepared, it's 2 tablespoons. I'm not sure I ever actually use 2 tablespoons. Maybe that would be the most. Like, thinking about how much I eat. I mean, it's a heavy sauce. It spreads really, really well. So, like, that 4 tablespoons is gonna go pretty far. Which means you can be expecting to have probably under 50 calories per 2 tablespoons. So, when I was talking about sauces before, you should probably try to go for 100 calories or under per serving of sauce, just for calorie management. It's going to be under that, no problem, because of the only 10 calories per serving in here. And then almond milk, gosh, that's going to be like per, not even an ounce. Gosh, what's an ounce of almond milk? I'm going to go look that up real quick. Per cup is 30. So it's like negligible. Alright, so I would say this is going to be a pretty safe sauce prepared this way. Okay, so let's start that up. Okay, so there's that container. Okay, so that's the almond milk we just saw. Here is the sauce packet. Okay, what's the heat for this? Bring to a boil. Okay, I'm going to save these directions. I've never made this before. And then the butter. Okay, in goes my half stick of butter. I just realized I used the wrong thing. Okay, we're going to use a whisk for this. Actually, it's what it says. Okay, and that butter will melt really quickly. Fortunately, if there's any uncooked meat from that other spoon, that will cook off. No problem. Okay, so bring to a boil, stirring constantly. Reduce and simmer, stirring constantly until thickened, about 1 minute. And then they say for lower fat, use non-fat milk. Yeah, you could definitely use skim milk in that, but, you know, it's not really going to make too much of a difference, at least with what I'm doing. Okay, shouldn't be too bad. Let's turn it up just a little bit here. Wonder how my soup's doing here. It is souping. It's not ready yet. No, we're near. I say that weather's looking pretty nasty out there. Windy, rainy. Should make for a fun evening. It's not saying anything about covering it, and it's saying stirring constantly, so I tend to follow that instruction when told that. It does seem to make a difference with things. I mean, I'm not really used to downtime in these videos. How's everybody doing? I mentioned Yard of Terror once or twice in this video, and a few times this week. That will be running from 6:30 to 10 today, and it's an adult scare night. So we'll be scaring you. We'll be trying to make you cry and run away and yeah, all that good stuff. Tomorrow it'll be the same, 6:30 to 10. Saturday's a double header, or Sunday is a double header from 1 to 4. It'll be Kids Day, so it's kind of like a free trick-or-treating event, donation only for all of these. And then 6:30 to 10, then Halloween night. for one final scare of the season. Alright, my butter is melting. The slab of butter I've been painting the bottom with constantly is just about gone. Which means it'll probably be starting to, oh, there it is. It floated. It'll probably be starting to boil here pretty soon. Actually, from the sound of the soup, I think that's going to be starting to have some extra action too. I think I'll check that as well while I'm waiting for this. Oh yeah. And now that the frozen vegetables have kind of collapsed in, not so frozen anymore, that's actually giving me a little bit more broth too. I think once the sauce is over, I'll definitely pan over. I won't leave that go for too long. Oh yeah, it's time to go. Okay. Whew. Keep stirring, keep stirring. It's starting to thicken. See that? It's looking a little bit foamier. But I'm going to be doing some interesting things with this. I am actually going to be seasoning as we go with it, because I don't know if it's going to have everything I want in it. Okay, there we go. A little bit foamy. Okay, what am I looking for? Until thickened. 1 minute. Turn this down a little bit. Okay, grab me a spoon, and a fork, that is also a fork. I know my utensil drawer, I swear. Okay, so, here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to lower this heat way down because this is about the consistency I want. Okay, so, basically just going to be putting it on the same spoon, just dripping it on there. Okay. Yes, hello, Lily. Alright, let's see how this is. Tastes like Hollandaise sauce, but I don't know. I don't know that it really has enough in there that I like. It doesn't have much of a flavor at all. I taste butter. It's got a nice consistency, which actually is partly why I wanted to use the packet, is because I wanted the consistency. I taste the salt, so I don't think it needs more salt. Here's what I think it does need. Okay, ready for this? Let's dial up this packaging. It needs some lemon, because a good Hollandaise sauce is definitely made with lemon. Like when I've made it in the past, I usually like the flavor. I just have some issues with consistency. Okay, so I put in probably just about 1 to 2, probably about 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. I'm going to do this very delicately. This is kind of a delicate sauce, so. Okay. Let's see what we got here, see if that's enough. Yeah, it's much better. And because I am Polish, okay, that's not the only reason. Garlic. Okay, I want you to see about how much I put in here. This is about how much I know I want. Okay, I made a little pool of garlic, that much. Okay, whisk that in there. Doesn't need to be overpowering. Again, this is supposed to be a little bit more of a delicate flavor. Okay, now let's try. Here you go. Oh my god, that's so much better. I like it. Might have been a little bit too much. You could probably go a little less. So like maybe 2/3 of the size of that pile that I just showed you. That would probably be fine. But I don't mind my stuff garlic heavy. I'm saying generally speaking, okay? It's not too garlicky for me, not at all. But I don't want this to be a garlic sauce. I want this to be a Hollandaise sauce. Okay? Now, I did cover up this a little bit. So that was another teaspoon for sure. Okay, let's try this. Oh, that's good. I know what? It's not often I say this. It needs one more thing. It's just a little sprinkle of pepper. 1 sec. For those of you that eat with me, I like never use pepper. So this is kind of surprising. And that's about all I put in. Okay. That's starting to make some nice boily sounds. Okay. Alright, there's my pepper. Yeah, it looks like hardly anything in there. It'll probably give us exactly the flavor we want. You know what's kind of cool is that this is such a solid sauce, it's not doing anything, even though I still had, like, the heat on it, so that's kind of neat. Alright, let's see how this is. Just right. That is a good sauce. Okay, so, I made a Hollandaise packet. I used unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Can't taste the difference. Remember, the milk is mainly for consistency. Everything else is for flavor. And the things that you add for flavor are usually things that do not give you calories. Yes, I know, Lily, you can't have any. There's garlic in there. So I put in, that was probably about, you know what, I would say if you're going to put garlic in your Hollandaise packet, I'd say start with 1/8 of a teaspoon. That's it. And then work up from there. 1/8 of a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and a little tiny dash of pepper. It tastes so much better than the almost zero flavor I had before. Great. Okay, so there's my soup. Grab a pot holder, get this thing out of the way. Okay. Okay, this will go here. I'm definitely satisfied with that sauce. Okay, shush. Okay, steamy. Go there. Okay. This looks kind of different now. Let's get you guys in for a closer look here. Okay, so my broth no longer has that pink look to it. My vegetables seem to be decently cooked down. The cabbage is like a perfect consistency. This broccoli here is slightly soft. Alright, got a nice mix of meat in there. What I want to see is how the rice is doing. Because to me, I was going to use the rice as an indicator of how done my soup is. Okay? So, on the soup, I've got a little thing of rice. My meat is definitely cooked, so I am not putting myself in harm's way here. The soup is lightly boiling, so this will be good. And I just need a little thing to put this on here. A shot glass would be perfect. Here's a lid. Okay. See how my rice is doing. Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay. I would say the rice needs a little more time. It's like just a little bit past al dente. So, I am going to put the lid on it. I'm going to cook it for about another about 15 minutes. And I would say every pot's a little bit different. These are really, really nice stainless steel pots that conduct energy really, really well and heat really well. I feel like it's a very efficient pot for what it is. I think my stuff usually cooks a little faster than the average pot. So, and more thoroughly, certainly. So, I would say that basically the best thing to do is just check as you go. So, however long this was on the video, so that was probably about 15 minutes or so, right? Plus the extra 15 I'm going to give it, and that's probably going to make it done. Yours, if you're going to try this out, so that would mean you'd have it on to start for about 30 minutes, and then just dig around, find some rice, find a few grains of rice. If the rice is as you would have it after boiling, like the way you normally eat it, your soup's done. Okay? Alright, so hopefully that helped you find yet another delicious soup for this coming cold season. And here, I'm going to grab this off the tripod so you can get a better look. Okay, that's what we got. It looks delicious. Okay, so if you try this, enjoy it, and I sure will in just a little while. Have a good day. Thank you.